Hello and welcome to Queendom TV and another one of my controversial opinions, and I'm just going to get straight for it. Guys, I don't know why, I've just always had bad vibes about Drake. Now, I know some people are going to be screaming right now and already clicking off the video and sad that YouTube no longer allows people to see the dislikes or hit that dislike button, but I'm just keeping it real because I've been rehashing this whole Astroworld thing because of some of the research that I've been doing for some videos, also because of this Free Britney stuff and the Lou M. Taylor stuff, and I'm just reminded of the fact that she loves to weasel herself out of things and just disappear and think she can hide behind a rebrand, which I talked about in another video. And in all of this, I was reminded of Drake's involvement. Now, I didn't really talk about this at length at the time, and I didn't really know much about his involvement. But now, as I've discovered more about what took place around Astroworld, for those of you who don't know, which I would be very surprised if you don't, I have done a whole bunch of videos about Astroworld. But pretty much, there was a festival done by Travis Scott, yada yada yada. People got sick, people died. There was debatable reasons why people think this happened. My belief is that this was all very demonic. This was all sacrificing people, and like a ritual almost for the evil powers of Hollywood. Now, to talk about Drake, I'm going to talk about Drake and Astroworld, and then I'm going to backtrack as to why I feel like I've always had weird vibes about him. At Astroworld, he obviously performed, and people were mainly upset with him because during part of the time he was performing, when, you know, people were upset, people were dying, people were passing out, and Travis had been ignoring what was going on, Drake apparently had also been ignoring what was going on, which was kind of the first issue that people have had with Drake around the whole situation. Now, for me, that's very odd. If I imagining myself being on a stage, and I've been on a stage before performing, not necessarily singing, but being on a stage, you can see what's going on in the stage. If it was my show, it was my concert, I would very definitely, even if it wasn't, I would definitely be stopping things. I'd be like, what on earth is going on? People are supposed to be enjoying themselves. A lot of artists, people who perform, you know, say that they thrive off of the crowd, the energy of the crowd. The energy must have been very bad. So for them to have continued on as if while this stuff was going on, to me is very counterintuitive, is very much the opposite of what I think would be the natural response in that situation. Now, the plot thickens and it gets even worse because the day after this all took place, Drake was seen at a strip club, apparently throwing out $1 million dollars to the amount of million, at least $1 million in the club, after all of this has gone down, while people were in hospital, people of course had died, and this of course was extremely distasteful. But to me, it's not even just about how distasteful that was. It's the fact that he was even able to do that. Because one thing I notice about people who are dodgy, we'll start with the word dodgy and we'll develop into what I really think as we go throughout the video, is that there are certain things that people who are dodgy can do that the rest of us with a conscience can't do. Like, for example, if I had been Travis Scott and Drake, I don't even think I could have eaten or been sleeping, knowing all that stuff had gone down the next day. I don't think I would be even in a place for that, because I would be distraught. I would be so upset, so apologetic, and feeling so guilty. So for him to be out here, you know, throwing out cash to the sum of $1 million at least, allegedly, the day after, is like, where is your head? You know, and okay, maybe there's an argument to be had that maybe this was his way of coping, or maybe he's trying to distract himself. I don't care. People died, people were in hospital, and this was the day after, you know. So that's very dodgy to me that you were capable of doing that stuff. Also, it's kind of cocky in a way, because it's like, do you really, like, maybe he really just, because and to me it almost suggests even more that this was all orchestrated and done on purpose, and that these people knew exactly what they were doing. Because it's almost like they weren't surprised. It's almost like they were prepared. Even the way that Drake and Travis were like, just continuing, it's almost like I can hear Lou Taylor in my head saying to them, and when you see the people dying, and when you see the people falling over, you just continue. All your job is to continue. Because I do feel like a lot of these artists are just pawns and puppets who know what they're doing, but are really being told what to do by the higher powers, the business managers, aka the Lou M. Taylors of the world, who are telling them what to do and how to maintain their fame and how to maintain their power. So Drake, the fact that reason why that adds to my already bad vibes, and I guess where my bad vibes always started, is because when you have these people who are very, very popular but are like excuse me, people like him who are extremely popular and are very Drake to me is kind of a similar character to somebody like Beyonce. Like, people just kind of blindly love Drake because, to be honest, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, I don't think that many people, it doesn't seem like Drake's career took a massive hit as a result of this Travis Scott thing. In fact, it seems like his career took more of a hit from his performance with Kanye West, where obviously Kanye way outperformed him at that live event that was done towards the end. I think it was in the last 2 months or so. So to me, that just suggests this whole kind of this idolization that people have of, you know, stars out there. And for people to have that strength of devotion to somebody, I feel like that has to come from a spiritual place. I really do. And it does. When you look at people like Beyonce, people don't just love Beyonce. People don't just even stan her. They worship her. Like, I've seen people pray to Beyonce myself. People worship her. Like, there's something about that pull of that, like, that like invisible force of pull that people have. And I find that the people who are the strongest in those areas tend to be the ones who are the least scandalous, because it's almost like they're the highest tier level, to the point where they're not even messy with it. They're so good with it that it's not even messy anymore, you know. And that's why I feel like with Drake I get bad vibes, because it's just like, first of all, his music is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying his music isn't good. Like this, whenever I say stuff like this, I'm never hating on the actual craft, because I believe God gives people gifts. I believe people are genuinely gifted. Like, it's nothing against Drake. There's Drake songs that I like. I'm just saying I've always had weird vibes about him. I've just always had bad vibes. Even that time he tried to kiss Rihanna, that's weird. Why the heck were you doing that? Obviously, people are talking about Drake now again, which further reinforces why I feel like he's probably just doing God knows what kind of sacrifices behind closed doors to maintain his power. Oh, not to mention the fact that even XXXTentacion actually said that Drake wanted to sacrifice him, and then Drake in his own song lyrics talked about sacrificing XXXTentacion. So, of course, the average public, blindly in love and idolizing their god Drake, totally overlooking that, or just thinking that it's just... And this is the thing about entertainment. This is the thing about the entertainment industry, is you can always hide behind, oh, but it's just artwork. Oh, but we didn't mean it. Oh, but it's just satire. Oh, but it's just a joke. Oh, but it's just metaphorical. All of these explanations to kind of hide the fact that whatever's being said is actually truth. It's somebody's truth. That's why I believe everything we see in the movies is real. That's why it doesn't shock me that people are like, oh my gosh, everything that happened in The Simpsons is happening now. Yeah, of course it is, because it came from some truth. And the reason why we have the entertainment industry and why it's the best tool to actually say real things is because people always look at it like it's just art, and it is art. But art has always historically been a form of informing people about what's going on. That's why even back in the day in places like the UK and the newspaper, you still see it now. When things are going on in politics, you find people that sketch things, you know, and they sketch what's happening. That's why people use propaganda. Art and mediums like that have always been used to convey a message, to convey something, you know, to speak a truth out there into the world, right? So for me with Drake, from the Astroworld way that he acted to now XXXTentacion being actually dead, and Drake having a pretty robust career so far, him actually going through, and then him doing the classic God's Plan song. Like, when people try and of course I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you should be glad because, you know, like, you're a Christian, yada yada yada, and I'm not glad about God's Plan thing. I just find it interesting, like, how even like this When Jesus Say Yes song, and I did a video talking about this, how I feel like these are the types of things that people do to make people like me sound like I'm just pulling something out of nowhere. Again, very smart business strategies, because you see, the thing is, guys, the evil powers of the world and just evilness in general is not stupid. Evil is not stupid. Evil is very smart. Evil is very cunning, like a fox. If you think about it, like a fox. So they know exactly what they're doing, and they know how easy people are to convince. That's why this When Jesus Say Yes song with Beyonce and flipping the other two, I don't mean it as in they're irrelevant, I just forgot their names, Kelly Rowland and I think Michelle Williams. I believe Michelle because she's also done other, you know, music, and also her career hasn't taken off the same way Beyonce's has, and there's a whole other theory I have about that, and other theories about why Beyonce became so popular, you know, etc., etc. But, you know, why do they do these things? So that the people, the masses who are easily swayed, who are easily brainwashed, go, oh, well, Beyonce did a song about Jesus, so how can she be a devil worshipper? Oh, Jake did a song called God's Plan, so how could he? And he went around giving people money. It's the same thing like what Jeffrey Epstein does. Jeffrey Epstein was all up in the charity. This is what all these rich people do. They give money and they do all this charitable work, because as soon as you see charity, you go, oh, you do charity, you're a good person. And that's why even in the Bible it says, you know, you should not let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. If you're really that good of a person, if you really want to help, do it without anybody having to see it. If you're, because the Bible says you shall know them by their fruit. If you are that person, you, without having to go and look like, oh, I've just given £100,000 check to cancer research, which is a great thing to do if you actually believe the money is going to go towards cancer research, which I don't. Another one of my conspiracy theories. Then go ahead and do that. Do you know what I mean? But why? I don't know. For me, Drake, he's just always giving me bad vibes. The fact that he's lasted this long in this evil industry with very small little scandals. Obviously, he's had his little Chris Brown stuff, the Rihanna thing, yada, yada, yada. Travis Scott, he's basically bounced back from that. You know, his latest album, him and Kanye. And again, even that, him and Kanye, you know, rectified things. I think that was another perfect business move. This was again shortly after the whole Travis Scott situation. So again, probably just doing that just so he can look good again. And Kanye, who's all up in his Jesus stuff now, probably feeling very forgiving and understanding. And so again, taking advantage, as in Drake taking advantage of that situation. I think so. I think a lot of these scandals and stuff we see, they just do things as much as it suits them. That's why now Drake and Chris Brown are all doing songs together, even though they were all trying to have altercations years ago. See what I mean? So I don't know. Bad vibes for me from Drake. Nothing against his artistry. He just seems a little bit too good to be true, if you ask me. And in Hollywood, knowing who is the king of Hollywood, I don't trust him. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If there's anything else that I've missed. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe. God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one.